Hi, everyone. I'm Renee, Senior Services Coordinator at Schaumburg Township District Library. And our special guest today is Tony Doan. He is the Healthcare Liaison at Friendship Village. And thank you so much, Tony, for being with us.
Of course, thanks for having me.
So it was Tony that came up with the Surviving the COVID Blues name for this. And we had a little fun when he came up with the COVID Conundrum, So I've learned how to spell the conundrum word. And just wanted to thank you again, Tony, for being with us. Tony is such an important part of the Serving Our Seniors local group that we have, along with his colleagues at Friendship Village. So, Tony, please tell us a little bit about what you do as Healthcare Liaison at Friendship Village. And please feel free, you have the floor.
Thank you. So yeah, COVID Conundrum. One, I just really love alliteration. So that double C, COVID Conundrum, just came to mind. So that was it was fun working together and creating that, and really just wanted to kind of come up with something that represented what we're all going through right now. So first, about myself, I'm healthcare liaison at Friendship Village, which basically means I help people transition from a hospital setting to our skilled nursing facility. Really provide support to our community in accessing the services there. So really important to have community outreach, and that's why I'm really appreciative that we're able to work together and reach out to our seniors in such a positive way. So we're all going through a lot right now, and hopefully we can address some of those concerns today. Some of my background, I am a licensed clinical professional counselor, or LCPC, which means that I do counseling, therapy. I have my own practice with my wife, and we see folks that are going through a hard time, presenting with some mental health symptoms. And really, it's important to me to help people. That's really why I got into what I do. So really excited to be helping people today and kind of going through, what we're all going through. This is a difficult time for everybody, not just in Schaumburg, in the world. So wanted to talk today about what it means to experience depressive symptoms. So what is depression? A lot of people hear that word, they hear depression and they think, oh my goodness, I have a mental health diagnosis. I feel like I'm going crazy. We use words like crazy and we feel really stuck in that. So, excuse me, I'm having a bit of a computer issue. 1 second. So, first off, let's go through a little bit about what are depressive symptoms, because a lot of people don't really understand what that looks like. And a lot of us might be experiencing these depressive symptoms. It doesn't mean you have a major depressive disorder. It just means that you're going through the COVID conundrum. We're going through this pandemic right now, and this is unprecedented. So let's talk a little bit about what these symptoms look like and how you might be experiencing them with your family and at home during these difficult times. So a depressed mood, it really feels like you have a weight on your shoulders. So you might actually have physical symptoms of feeling lethargic, feeling like you're kind of moving through goo and slow. You might actually lose your appetite. And some people that are experiencing more significant depression can lose weight. And if you have experienced some weight loss, I would encourage you to see a physician and make sure that you're maintaining that weight and taking care of yourselves. So that fatigue, loss of energy, those are some symptoms. And then overall, if you're having some feelings of worthlessness, excessive or inappropriate guilt nearly every day, those are some of those major symptoms of depression. But some symptoms that you might not know about or might not have heard of before, depression can present as irritability. So, we're stuck in the house with our loved ones more often than ever. And if we're noticing that we're feeling really irritable or kind of striking out at them more often, you might be experiencing some depressive symptoms. So that's something to take note of and something to be aware of as we're going through uh, the COVID conundrum. I have a patient I'm working with that he said that one of his colleagues came up with, we're all in the COVID sauce. We're all in this, and COVID has really touched everything that we're doing right now. So, getting through this and understanding that it's not just one aspect of our lives, it's nearly every aspect of our lives that COVID has impacted. So, if you're experiencing some of those depressive symptoms, just know that that's kind of normal right now, unfortunately, because what has happened is we have lost our coping strategies. One of the major difficulties right now, you might have had a routine. You had things that you did when you weren't feeling great, or things that you did when you were feeling great that helped you feel even better, helped you plug into society and find the social support that you needed to be able to feel good about yourself, feel good about your day, and have that drive to live a life worth living. That's what if anything, that if COVID's done anything, what it's done is it's kind of challenged our day to day as what we're trying to accomplish and what we want to define our lives and look like every day. So we really have struggled to redefine that as we're facing this difficult struggle and as we're going through this pandemic. So wanted to flip to our next topic area and talking about anxiety. So as much as we might be increasing our depressive symptoms, a lot of times anxiety and depression go hand in hand. And unfortunately, anxiety is high for a lot of people in facing COVID, the possibility of contracting the disease, but also just thinking about contracting the disease and some of those anxious symptoms that might be coming up for you. So you're just going to go through a few symptoms of anxiety, what that looks like, and how we can kind of identify that. And we're going to go into discussing coping strategies to use if we're feeling some of these symptoms and to try and work through difficulties that we might be going through. So anxiety, some of the symptoms I'm going to go through generalized anxiety disorder symptoms, but just for your information, there's a number of different anxiety disorders that you might be facing if you do have a diagnosis, but also just going through life right now and experiencing the challenges of COVID might be just bringing up some of these symptoms. This might be very situational, but these symptoms are very real and very difficult to face on a day-to-day basis. So the presence of excessive anxiety or worry, you might feel edgy. If you ever kind of wake up and you're feeling kind of edgy, you're feeling restless, you have the urge to do something, but you don't know exactly what to do with yourself, that is a big sign of anxiety. And it's also something that in my practice, I've heard a lot from people that are struggling with that symptom. They feel like, I used to fill my time with going to the store or going over a friend's house or doing any number of things that were part of your normal routine. But unfortunately, it's no longer an option right now. So we're just kind of sitting in this edgy place of, what do I do with myself right now? You also might be experiencing some obsessive thoughts about control or inability to control. We might, I don't know about you all, but I feel a little bit more out of control than usual just because, we don't know exactly what's coming up. News articles and different people are coming up with different ideas every day. And sometimes it feels really out of control, not knowing exactly what's going to happen in the future. I feel like before COVID, our future was a little bit more predictable. We couldn't control everything, but that's something that I feel like has really been taken away from us. So if you're having impaired ability to concentrate, that's a really big symptom, something that everyone might struggle with, but it could be increased a little bit more at this time. We talked a little bit about irritability with depressive symptoms. It's definitely a sign of anxiety as well. So that irritability, hopefully we're not all irritable with our family members or, people that we are spending a little bit more time with than we did before, but that might be something that we're struggling with. And then something that's really common is difficulty sleeping. So if you're sitting in bed at night and you're struggling to quiet the mind, you're struggling to, relax and let your body fall asleep, then you're going to struggle to maintain a healthy sleep pattern. So that's something too, that once you struggle to sleep that one night, you're feeling really tired the next day. You might take a nap and then struggle to sleep that night too. So that one kind of difficulty can then lead to increased difficulty later on in maintaining healthy sleep patterns. So you get thrown off a little bit and it gets worse and worse and worse until it's a really significantly healthy sleep pattern. And we call that unhealthy sleep hygiene. So that is basically wanted to tie up anxiety. I know it's really difficult, and what we're going to kind of transition to is talking about what can we do when we're experiencing these symptoms. We were talking a little bit about in making this program, why is this important, and what are we really trying to do for our seniors and anybody that might be watching this program. And it's about, taking back a little bit of that control and understanding that you do have the ability to kind of respond to this in a more productive way. We all have the ability to face this difficulty, take back a little bit more of that control, and take back our ability to manage our emotional experiences. Sometimes emotions seem like they're way too intense, and we lose control of them. We feel overwhelmed. The COVID has presented us with a difficulty in experiencing that more often for most of us. So it might feel very overwhelming for some of us that either we're already experiencing some depressive or anxiety symptoms, or maybe people that you might never have experienced this before. So this might be new and overwhelming just to start to experience anxiety, and you're thinking, I don't know what this is, what's going on. And you're probably feeling really out of control with that. So one of the areas I want to focus on, one of the strategies I want to focus on is called mindfulness. A lot of people might have heard this term thrown around. It's sometimes called mindful meditation. And really it's a term that categorizes a lot of different skills and highlights an ability to be able to maintain focus and understand our emotional experience. So going to break down the different types of skills in mindfulness and then go through how we can utilize this in our day-to-day. So specifically, mindfulness consists of what and how skills. Ooh. My computer keeps wanting to go into rest mode, even though I set my power options to not go into rest mode, but in any case, we're all dealing with difficulties, and computer difficulties are more present in our day-to-day. So what we can do is utilize mindfulness, and we're going to go through the what and how skills. So what skills are what we do when we're doing mindfulness, and then how skills are how we do those what skills. So the first what skill is observe. Now, observe really, if you break it down, is about using our five senses to plug into an experience. This experience could be any number of things. I like to highlight maybe looking at a painting, hearing music. Some people like sensory things that, grains of rice or things that have texture. They like to experience those things. Any number of things that utilize your five senses to fully plug into that experience and kind of let go of all the other things that are going on. That is really the observe skill. Next, we want to talk about is describe. Describe is when we start to put words to those experiences. We start to notice specific things about, let's say I'm looking at this painting that I have here in my office. I start to notice the texture of the mountains, the boat in the water. and the beautiful colors that are in the painting. And I start to plug in those identifiers in my experience and allow myself to kind of create a more healthy picture of what's going on. Uh, I might notice different thoughts coming up for myself. I just keep coming back to what the experience is right in front of me. Finally, the last what skill is participate. This is where we're fully involved in something. If you've ever played a game, you're playing some Monopoly with your family, you're doing a sport, you're participating in creating a painting, that's a participate skill. And you might notice you've already utilized mindfulness if you're participating in that skill and you look up at the clock and you're like, holy cow, an hour has gone by, 2 hours have gone by. What happened to the time? You hear the phrase, time flies when you're having fun. Well, time flies when you're being mindful too, because what you're doing is you're letting go of the aspect of focusing on what you have to do later, what you've done before, and you're really plugged into the moment, what you're doing right now. And if there's anything that you can take away from mindfulness, even though there's a plethora of things that you can utilize this for, that would be a major cornerstone of how to get through the difficulty with COVID, is plugging into what you can do right now. So those are the what skills. We can do any different what skills separately. So you're either doing observe, describe, or participate. But the how skills, you want to do all of these how skills at the same time. These kind of frame how we do the what skills. So the first how skill is one mindfully. So this is a long way of saying, let's just do one thing at a time. If you've ever been at work, if you've ever been at home trying to do something and you keep having different thoughts come up for you. I'm trying to paint this painting, I'm trying to participate in something healthy for me, and I keep thinking, oh my goodness, I have this thing that I need to do for work tomorrow. I can't believe this stressful thing happened for me earlier. I can't believe that we're going through this pandemic. This is awful. All of these thoughts, they might just keep coming up for you and coming up for you. And they're taking you away from the thing that you're trying to do to help yourself. It's tough. It's a really tough situation. And what we often do is we try to push away these thoughts. We push them away and say, I'm not thinking about you right now. And that action, it's something that it feels natural. But the action of pushing thoughts away kind of keeps them present in our mind. It heightens our stress. It might heighten your anxiety. And instead, what mindfulness asks us to do is we want to notice our distracting thoughts. We want to bring ourselves back to what we're focusing on. So if, let's say we're doing that painting, we think about, oh my goodness, this news article, and it slowly kind of brings your attention away. We want to notice, okay, that's a thought that I'm having right now. And then we think, okay, and I'm coming back to painting this painting right now. So that skill, it's called a gentle push, because we want to be kind to ourselves. We want to gently notice this thing, and we want to come back to whatever activity that we're trying to participate in, painting that painting. I am a terrible artist, but it is a skill that challenges me and challenges me to participate in things with our next house skill. So the first house skill, one mindfully. The next house skill is non-judgmentally. So I unfortunately get very judgmental with my art skills. And what I try to do is I try to do things that challenge me. And I might do some art sometimes just because I know that my judgmental mindset is going to come up, and I'm going to have a lot of judgments about my stick figure art. But similarly to the one mindfulness skill, we want to embrace things in a non-judgmental way, and we want to notice those judgments. So just like distracting thoughts, judgmental thoughts might come up for you. You experience those judgmental thoughts. And what we want to try to do, again, is not give them the energy of fighting against them. We don't want to say, stop thinking that way. No, don't think about things like that. We want to take a pause, and we want to notice those judgments, and then we come back to our skill. Again, we really are utilizing the how skills to frame what we're doing. We're noticing judgments and we're coming back. We're taking back control over our thought process and how we're responding to our environment. Because we can't always control our environment. If COVID has taught us anything, it's that we cannot control our environment all the time. If you're feeling out of control and you're feeling like, oh my goodness, what do I do right now? Take that deep breath. Take a moment to slow down and notice all the things going on around you. Notice that, yes, this feels very out of control. Yes, this feels like I can't do much. And we notice that and we come back to what we're doing. So if anything, that you're taking away from this, if there's a powerful moment that you want to highlight from this, it's that we can notice things, we can have judgments, we can have distracting thoughts, and we can still keep coming back to what we're trying to do and what we're trying to accomplish. So non-judgmentally, probably my favorite skill, also a difficult skill when drawing, but it is what it is. Finally, the last house skill is doing things effectively. So this is often a result of, utilizing our mindfulness skills. We are much more effective at the things that we do when we're able to do them mindfully, when we're able to let go of judgments. When I've taught a class on mindfulness before, I compared being effective to Michael Jordan at the free throw line. When he was at an away game, they all had the slicks, the sticks, the slapsticks behind the rim. I don't know about you, but I always thought, man, that's really distracting. It's probably really hard to make that free throw. But he had his routine. He did what he needed to do. He fully participated in what he was doing. He wasn't thinking about those sticks or the score. He just did what his routine, shot his free throw, and his percentages were really high. So talk about an ability to be present, to be mindful. Jordan was that guy, and I'm not asking you to be Michael Jordan at the free throw line, but what I am saying is that we all have the ability to plug into what we're doing to a greater degree, and to let go of those distractions and judgments to a greater degree. So those are the what and how skills of mindfulness. Now, mindfulness is as a core technique is taught. Sometimes it takes people a long time to really plug in and practice those mindfulness skills. So this is really just a snippet to start to try some of these skills. And I would encourage you to kind of do some research and plug into, practicing those skills to gain mastery. The first time you participate in mindfulness, you might be distracted 80% of the time. You might have all sorts of anxious thoughts about what you need to do or what happened before. And you might feel like you're not doing it right, but that's not really the focus. It's not about doing it right or wrong. It's about noticing those distractions and coming back. So that effectiveness is going to build over time. It's not just going to be, oh, I'm being mindful, so I'm laser being focused the whole time. That's something that I encourage people that are new to mindfulness to kind of let go of that idea that you're going to be great at it at first. But it takes time to build that mastery up. So one of the other tenets, in teaching mindfulness is understanding how our emotions impact us. So I'm going to show you a little slide and highlight something that's called wise mind. So let me share my screen here. Okay. So wise mind is, really about understanding the interplay between our rational mind and our emotional mind. The emotional mind often gets a bad rap, but, we feel like we're overly emotional or we lose our ability to be rational. But we're really highlighting an ability to know how we're feeling. If we get rid of that emotional mind, we're not giving our emotions the time that they need to be processed and to give us the information that they might be giving us. So when you're angry, there's a reason that you're angry. It's not saying that every time you get angry, you have a right to react whatever way you want, but it is a part of that experience, and it's a valid part of that experience. We need to validate our emotions and then utilize our rational mind too to create a wise response. That's what this is about. So that rational mind, we approach things intellectually, logically. We use past experience, facts, and research. Emotional mind addresses our core psychological needs. It tells us how we're really doing and creates an accuracy. So if we plug into both of those things and we create a wise mind response or a wise mind experience, we start to become intuitive. We start to balance and live a mindful life. Because that's the ultimate goal. If we're talking about mindfulness, it is initially a practice that allows us to plug into the moment. But then as we gain more mastery, it allows us to plug into moments in our life and be more present in our life in general. So a large step there and a lot of mastery that needs to happen to get there. But it is something that we all can do to live a more mindful life, to be more present in our day-to-day experience. That's really the goal here. That's what we want to get to. So, in challenging some thoughts you might have about emotional mind, I wanted to, kind of highlight 3 jobs that emotions have. So emotions oftentimes encourage us to communicate to others. They encourage us to stand up for ourselves and, encourage us to act. If we look at, anthropologically, cavemen had an emotional response to a saber-toothed tiger by running away. And we are the ancestors of those cavemen that responded the quickest and got away from the tiger, because the ones that didn't, well, they didn't get away from that saber-toothed tiger. So I know we don't all have saber-toothed tigers that we're running from, but we do have emotional responses to stimuli in our environment. And it's important to understand what's going on in the interplay of that experience. So what I'd like to do at this point, we talked a little bit about, I don't know how many participants that we have, but wanted to open it back up to answer any questions that you might have about mindfulness or the COVID conundrum, what we're going through, and also highlight some things that you can plug into as far as, what's going on in the community. So I know Schaumburg Library, they have some home delivery for seniors. They have deliveries to Friendship Village each Monday, which is great. We really appreciate you working with us in supplying books and different media sources to our residents. But that's also, you all can interface with the library in a way that assists you in getting that media, filling your space. We can help you subscribe by appointment. People with low vision to a talking book program. Renee is really great at helping people with that, and I'm sure she could expand on that if you had any questions about that. And then we have the library has an extensive collection of large print books and other materials that can help you access media. Schaumburg Township offers phones for persons with hearing impairments. And then Schaumburg Barn has drive-through pickup frozen meals. And then caregivers can also pick up meals for household members. So you do have to, kind of sign up to be a part of that program, but it is very easy and very accessible to seniors in the area.
And we are really so blessed to be a part of such a wonderful community. So yes, and thank you so much for your thoughts. We encourage our attendees to ask some questions. So I would just like to start off briefly with kind of with a thought about, kind of get your thoughts about about our thinking process in terms of COVID itself. You were talking about, feelings and people constantly trying to bat away their feelings. Do you have any thoughts on actually the virus itself and how we should view it? I mean, for me, I look at the pictures and the cartoons of like this monster COVID going across the screen on some of the comedy shows and everything. I mean, is that helpful for us if we want to view it that way? Or when all is said and done, it's just, sorry for saying, it's just a stupid microscopic particle. And yet it's, there's all this our society is completely changed by it. But is there what's your wisdom in that area?
So, I mean, there's a lot that comes up for me in thinking about this. And I think one thing that pops up for me is the kind of silliness of it. The thinking about this tiny, tiny little thing that has completely changed everything that we're doing. In healthcare, we sometimes use the term, or the phrase, if you don't laugh, you cry, because this is an incredibly difficult situation. And yet the challenge is finding humor in some of the wild things that we go through, the mask that we have to wear, and the crazy things that we have to do to keep ourselves safe, because we never, we have the unknown of when we come into contact with this virus, because you can't see it, so you never really know. So, our healthcare people have these big shields and gowns, and we're trying to protect ourselves, we're keeping ourselves safe. And yet it's like, we feel very out of control. And I see you have some collection of gear that you're geared up with yourself over there.
Well, that's just it. I mean, I've got all this stuff. I mean, it's kind of funny. And I guess my question too is just being able to laugh. And I find myself, we're in the shopping mall, we got our face shields on, me and hubby, giving each other a kiss or something, and all the stuff that's falling all over my homemade mask and all that stuff. And some of it is downright funny. So then I find myself, wanting to laugh. And then I actually would laugh in the stores when this stuff's all falling all over, and then have to sort of give myself permission to laugh, because it was hard to laugh when people are hurting. This little minuscule particle and everything has just done, so much in our society with so much damage. And so I feel like I had to just, sometimes I laugh and I feel guilty.
So this is the challenge. It's about both, and yes, we need to take this seriously. Yes, that there is some devastating consequences to this situation, and we all need to get through. We all need to find humor in this as well. It's about, that self-care of accepting that there is a ridiculousness to this, and there is a very serious aspect to it. It's not about an either or, embracing it as one or the other. Because I don't know about you, but it's very tiring being serious all the time and not being able to find humor in what we're all going through. Yes, it's very serious. Yes, wear your PPE, protect yourself, and kind of laugh at the ridiculousness when you're gowned up and you got your big mask on and you're trying to give your husband a kiss, and you get lipstick on your face shield or whatever happens. Like, we have to laugh at this stuff at times. It helps get us through too. That's a big part of that coping strategy is take a moment, laugh at the ridiculousness, and be okay with whatever's coming up. That really embraces that non-judgmental stance with mindfulness. It's you're finding humor in this. Let's not judge that. It's appropriate. It's part of your experience. Give yourself permission to laugh and embrace that ridiculousness of the COVID experience.
So we have a question in terms of what would be some solutions, in terms of mindfulness. Is there some other solutions that can distract us from what we're going through? What are some key points that you recommend in that area?
Sure. So, I'm noticing that looking for solutions to distract from. And that's something that presenting on mindfulness, but also understanding that sometimes people are just looking for different creative ways and different things to do. So some examples, a lot of people have gotten back into reading. Maybe you hadn't picked up a book in a while. The library absolutely is a great asset to find an outlet to get out of our current world. I don't know about you, but when I find a good book, I can really transport myself into that world that the author's creating. And most of those worlds don't include a pandemic unless you're reading a specific book. But then you can kind of live out and distract your brain with a world that isn't going through the same things that we're going through. So other things that we can do, a lot of people have plugged into different shows, different media outlets to get their needs met. If you're looking for different hobbies that you might not have done before, this is a great time to get into drawing, painting, trying different things that you might not have thought about before. Even if you don't have that skill set, this is a great opportunity to develop a new skill set. A lot of my friends have started learning a new language. Language learning takes a great deal of time and attention. And that is something that, while challenging, can be something new and exciting for you to try out. Now, I started trying to learn Spanish, so that's something that I've embraced. I still got a long way to go with that. And then, that's kind of excited me and got me looking forward to the possibility of traveling to a different country to be able to utilize that skill in the future. So that's kind of not only gotten me excited about a new skill, but the opportunity of using that skill too. So that could be a really great thing for you.
Okay, any other questions? And I still want to remind everyone what a wonderful community it is in terms of just the information packets that are out there. We have a lot of activity packets that people will actually come to the senior barn just to pick up the activity packets. So with puzzles and so forth, something to distract people in terms of engage the mind in puzzles and so forth. We do have a comment here from one of our attendees who says that it's helpful to take virtual tours of museums or a national park. And our attendee has also been learning Spanish via one of those apps that teach foreign languages. So yes, isn't that definitely finding new ways of keeping busy, right?
Absolutely.
Except for housework. It's like, gee, what can I do?
Anything
I
else?
can do more housework. No.
The same thing that I've been cleaning for the past 3 months. You can only do so much housework until you get bored. Yeah,
Right. Right.
What a great way to get out of your own house or get out of your own experience for a little while. There's all sorts of travel shows that you can plug into to remember what it was like to travel to other countries or other places, or if you've never been, to plug into what that experience might be like for you.
We have an attendee who states, I really love listening to all the different Zoom events with the library. Oh, thank you. Looking forward to them. So yeah, so before we conclude, if anyone has other comments, they are welcome. But right now, I guess maybe we can both call for people to be ambassadors to talk about things that are available and share that information with others. What is available in the community, what services, and so forth. And thank you for bringing up the services offered by the barn. Maybe we can all be ambassadors to do some good groundwork to let people know about those services, including, the meals at the senior barn. Caregivers can pick up meals for the people they're caring for, or you can pick up meals for your loved ones there. It's very hard, for working children with adult parents who are caring for adult parents, maybe in their own home, to be cooking meals. We have so many adult children will drop off meals for their parents, but they can also pick up good meals at the barn. We have programs for people with visual disabilities, large print books, and the library will deliver books to people within the district. So anything else from anyone? Okay, well, thank you everyone for tuning in, and thank you to Friendship Village